Hi, everyone. I am Mawiyah Bomani. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm new to Llewellyn, and I'm so excited to be here to be presenting on Conjuring the Calabash. Um, the calabash is a symbol that is really sacred in the African traditions. Um, I decided, well, my book won't be out until 2023, sometime in 2023. And when I was thinking about titles for the book, I thought of Conjuring the Calabash because the calabash itself, the history of it has its male and female components, right? We consider the top part of the calabash to be more masculine and the bottom part to be more feminine, sort of like the womb of nature, right? And with that being said, there are lots of stories about the calabash, and one in particular that I always love is the one where they talk about the man and the woman living inside the calabash, and they couldn't get along, couldn't figure out how to get along. So there was this big argument where they came to blows, and then they decided immediately that, we can either heal each other through our learning about the calabash or our knowledge about each other, or we could go our separate ways. And that's sort of, what part of my presentation is about, how we can heal from relationships or situations that are not as pressing to us now. We may be trying to move forward, sort of liberation magic. I like to call it liberation magic. Some people call it cord cutting magic. I call it liberation magic as well. So a little bit about me, who I am, in case you don't know. I see a lot of my friends from New Orleans are here, and I see my good friend Denise is here. I'm so excited. So I am, like I said, Mawiyah Bomani. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm initiated in the Yoruba system of Ifa. My big three initiations were to Oya, Shango, and Ochosi. I'm also a writer. And a poet, a playwright. I have a podcast called Fish Heads and Red Gravy, where I talk about Black people or people of color who deal with the esoteric nature things. And so I do a lot of that. So in my time, so I also write, and I also did a lot of writing for an e-zine, Oya and Sorrow, where we did a lot of cultural talks, indigenous spirituality talks, things about health, things of that nature. So that's just a little bit of background about me. So today, like I said, we're talking about liberation magic or cord cutting magic. I like to call it liberation magic because sometimes when people hear you say cord cutting magic, they get really scared. They start thinking about Hollywood and all these movies, where, there's this quote unquote voodoo doll, somebody brings out and they're sticking pins in it to hurt the person once the relationship is over. And so a lot of people, they get really skittish about that word, but liberation magic is really the same thing. And I also want them to know that, part of cord cutting is to bring your power back into you, right? That essence of that power of who we are, bringing that back into our being. Because a lot of times when relationships or situationships don't go as we think they should go, we sort of feel played, we feel used, we feel abused, and it's as if somebody has hijacked our life, and it is really, really difficult for us to get that that agency over our lives back, right, in our own being. So we feel lost, so to speak, in that manner. During the pandemic, being a diviner and someone who works with the community, a lot of people were looking for love. A lot of times you had individuals who were thinking that because they were in the midst of the pandemic, that it was their last chance at finding love. And so they rushed out, to get on Tinder, whatever sites they were on, even if it was Twitter or Instagram, just trying to figure out how to find someone, if this is it, right? If this is the end of the world, I need to have my someone. Right. So that's what they were doing. So a lot of the pandemic fears, the things that were coming up, or some things that were said were things like, if this is the end of the world, then I better get on social media and find love. And a lot of people were doing that. A lot of my clients who came to me, some people were just thinking that, I'll get someone, a piece of someone is better than no one at all. Just finding the mate, finding somebody with money, finding someone with the resources to take care of me is better than even thinking about love. So a lot of these different viewpoints were said, and a lot of them were coming up. People were more interested in just grabbing or gravitating towards anybody, any person that they thought would fulfill those needs, and they weren't really as selective, in their thoughts about the person. They didn't have this criteria that they probably would have had, pre-pandemic, right? So all of that was thrown out of the window. Just give me somebody was a lot of the thinking. So you rush into those relationships, and then what you end up with, a lot of times people were ending up with relationships built on fear and violence, right? They were in these relationships and they were finding that the person who they met or who they were engaging in this relationship with wasn't who they thought they were, right? Or even that, they may have changed, right? I don't want this anymore. The world is beginning to open up again. I want, something better. I deserve better. So many decided or saw that they were, marrying narcissists. They were in relationships with people who were solely focused on them. And for the individual, they probably were solely focused on that person too, because once again, a lot of times people were thinking that if this is the end, then, I'll just take whatever, I just want to have something. And neglecting your own desires, shutting down, feeling like I don't have a say. I can't have a say, because if I do have a say, then this person may leave me. This may be the end of this relationship. And if this is it, then, I just would rather stay put. Shutting out your support system to appease the relationship. There was a lot of that, feeling like, I don't want to hear this other voice is telling me that this, you deserve better, or you should move in a different direction. I just want to keep it right here. I don't want to see any further than where I am. So there was a lot of that as well. And then finally, like I said, as the world starts to reset itself, right, and things start to happen, I'm finding that a lot of people are coming and saying, well, you know what, I want true love. This relationship is not working. I'm looking for a way to release. We've broken up. We've decided to go our separate ways, whatever the case may be. And now, I just feel like I need some healing in that area, some spiritual type healing. As you'll see in the later slide, I also say that, and if you need the emotional care, then don't be afraid to, go visit a therapist, get that help that you need. And that magic as well as therapy together will, help you, to overcome those situations. So one of the first things that I always talk about is using a shampoo, right? Shampoo that loses right out of my hair. Funny title, right? Everybody might not be considered the quote unquote loser, but it's more to empower you to feel like, okay, I can do this. I can, get rid of this situation. Because when we think about cord cutting, a lot of times we'll do candle work, or we may even have a puppet and do some work with the doll, or whatever the case may be like that. And we seldom think about how the impressions of that person, their life and what they've done and how they've been so intertwined with our life, how that affects us, physically. So one of the things that I always like to think about or to look at is the hair, right? Because no spiritual bath can be complete without us examining or, having a clear-cut examination of, our hair, cleaning our hair. A lot of times when we think of spiritual baths, I've seen lots of recipes that say, just bring a cup or something in there and you're pouring some of the water from the bath onto your head. Well, I like to go a little bit deeper than that, because I come from, like I said, I'm from New Orleans. And as I grew up, the hair was always very important. Even being a young girl, maybe even getting your hair straightened. When hair would come out of the straightening comb, right, and there would be hair left in the area, then that hair would be placed in an ashtray and that hair would be burned, whether it was with a lighter, the grandmother or your mother or whoever was doing your hair would burn it with a lighter, or, they would use a cigarette or a cigar if somebody was smoking, and they would burn that hair, because the thought behind it is someone could take that hair, utilize that hair, maybe even wrap it around some chicken wire, bury a picture of you and that hair, and, do some workings against you. So it was always thought that the hair is very, very important. It's very, very vital to make sure that you don't leave your combs and brushes out where hair is collected, pick up behind yourself, to dispose of that hair properly. So hair is really, really important to look at in terms of when we do that. And I brought my notes, guys. I have my notes. So when with the hair, with the shampoo, I'm using the liquid black soap, right? And the liquid black soap, depending upon the texture of your hair, you could use a fourth of a cup or a cup, depending on how long your hair is, how thick it is, things like that. If you're someone with locks, you might want to use more. I don't know. But so we would use the black soap. And so the black soap is going to help to cleanse, sort of pull all of that energy from whatever that relationship was, pull that energy out, right? So that's what that's going to do. We're going to use the chamomile oil, and that's going to help calm our nerves, right? 9 drops of that to help calm our nerves. And so I usually, if I'm using the black soap, I may put it into a jar, maybe a mason jar, and pour, and then that way I can add my other ingredients into it. And then when I'm done, I can do my shaking by topping up that mason jar. So I'm using the chamomile oil to help calm the nerves. Then I'm going to use 9 drops of neroli oil to make you a magnet for joy, to bring back the joy into your life, right? And so then I'm going to use about 9 capfuls of the apple cider vinegar to promote self-love, right? Self-love. Because people always want to know about, love rituals, right? Bring me love. I want this person to fall in love with me. But the basis of love is about our self-love, how we feel about ourselves internally, because that is what's going to make somebody, want to fall in love with us, right? Is we are sending out, we're oozing the energy of love, then people are going to want to be in love with us. So then I use 9 drops of the tea tree oil to help heal our troubled spirits. Any kind of troubles that you feel may have been brought on by the relationship, that will help heal that. So I'm mixing all of those ingredients together, right? I have it there all together inside of my jar with my bases, which was the liquid black soap. I'm topping that up, and then I'm shaking it, right? Shaking it vigorously. And I like to write out my own statement that I'm going to say. So one statement that I've used, and of clients have used as well, is hair on my head, release all the bad juju you got brewing through and through. I'm talking the misguided kundalini, the emotional trauma, the physical strain. Let all that muck rain down the drain. Hair on my head, this queen lives a beautiful life, from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. Let my alignment begin with my crown. I wear it well like diamonds, rubies, and pearls. I am a bad, bad girl. The queen has entered the throne room. Time for all you witches to bow down. You can look, but do not even think about touching this crown. All right. So you make up your own statement that empowers you, that makes you feel as though you can start to move forward from that relationship. And so this is one. I don't know how often you would wash your hair, but I would definitely have enough that I could use, at least if I'm going to wash my hair once a week, I could use it for at least 9 settings, right? So 9 weeks, right? I'm going to use this wash. And so I would do it. And so as you start to use it, each week you use it, you start to feel, just the flow of all of that energy that was started to move away from you. Okay. So that's the shampoo portion of it. So for us who do like to condition our hair, everybody doesn't like to condition their hair, but then I added a conditioner to it, right? And so the conditioner, you have the melted shea butter, right? And the shea butter is going to help us cool that anxiousness, right? Because sometimes when you get out of relationships, even if it's not you, you may know someone, they're looking straight for the next relationship. They're out of one, and so they're just ready to jump back into something else. Well, with the hair conditioning, right, with the melted shea butter, it helps to cool that anxious desire to just jump back out there, because you don't want to jump right back into it again, right? So you have that. So then we have the 9 drops of jasmine oil to sort of re-envision our renewal, how we see ourselves, how we see the next relationship when it happens, right? How we will envision ourselves within that next relationship. So we want to have that. And then we have that coconut cream, right? And it will help us, it helps to invigorate us sensually when the time comes. But we use that so that we start to see ourselves again as somebody worthy, right, of this sensualness, right? So we use all of those things. And I even apply a little bit of the coconut, of the hair conditioning to my forehead. And I'm gonna tell you why, because there's a belief that that it helps to raise our life force energy when we deal in this area, right? And it helps us to be able to open our senses to fight or flight, right? To know the difference, to know when to utilize them. So I'm using my conditioner, I'm making my conditioner up. and I'm doing the conditioner. I'm following the same instructions as I did with the shampoo, and I'm putting it together. And I sort of like to mix it with my finger a little bit, mix it with my fingers, and then I'll put that on. I'll let it sit for about 10 minutes maybe, and then rinse it out. I can say the mantra again with that. I can say my same statement that I've written for my shampoo. I can do it, with my conditioner, or I can just let it, just think about envisioning what my life would be like in the future. I can do it that way as well. Once that's all done, however you dry your hair, you can go ahead and do that. And then I usually like to tie it in a white scarf. And sometimes I can just, regular white scarf you might have. Sometimes I'll even take the scarf and put it in a little bit of that shampoo solution, let it dry out, and then wrap my head in it. Now, even if you're not going to be washing your hair like each day for 9 days, because you're going to do it by the weeks, you could still wrap your head for 9 days, that first time you do it. Or you could choose to do it, since you're going to wash your hair, dry it that day. You could do it that time. And then the next week when you do it, just, tie your head again. You could break up your 9 that way. It really doesn't matter how you do it. But the point is that, when you do these rituals, when you do this particular working, it's going to help you to release the energy of, a relationship that no longer serves you. All right. And so I also decided that, or saw that sometimes we have, oops, I went back too far. Sometimes we have situations where we need to clean up the house as well, because a lot of the energy from the relationship, it finds itself existing in the corners of our home, just all over the house, right? And a lot of the muck really goes into the corners. It really will survive in the corners of the rooms. And so you have an argument in that room, and a lot of that energy will find itself seeping right into the corners. You come back into that room, a day later, even hours later, and you start to feel that energy that's still there, whether it needs to have a spiritual cleansing, right, of that home. And even the same when you are ending a relationship with someone, you really want to, get that energy out of there. You may be thinking, well, I've gotten all his or her stuff out of here. They've come to pick up all their junk, but the psychic, right, that psychic junk is still there. So we need to have that cleaned out. So one of the main things that I would start off with is dressing in white, right? Because remember when we did our hair, we had the white on for that. So I would also, say that we could, dress in all white. And that way it sort of repels a lot of that energy, so that energy that we're trying to get out, it doesn't try to attach itself to us. So I would start off with the myrrh incense. And so the myrrh incense is going to help heal, and it's going to help remove the psychic energy out of there. And it's going to also call our ancestors to us to help serve as that sort of, that like a bouncer, like you go to a club and that bouncer's there to get you out of there if you're too drunk or you're causing a commotion. Well, our ancestors serve as those bouncers, right, who are going to make sure that that energy gets out and stays out. So going through each room, right, of the home with the myrrh incense and just sort of fanning the incense, making sure that we're getting as close to the corners as we can, because I know some people have a lot of things in their rooms. And so you might say, well, I can't get to my corners, but with as close as you can, right, as you possibly can, and try to whisk some of that air, some of the smoke from the incense up into the air, just allowing it to be said, have your saying, say what you want out of there, why you want it out of there, that it's over, have it, say what's on your heart at that time. And like I say, move through each room in the home. And if there is a specific place where that person may have kept their items, a closet, or even, a chest of drawers or things like that, open those up too and do the same thing, and remove that energy from there and the corners of the chest of drawers as well. So we want to definitely start off with that myrrh incense. So that's what I would start off with for that first. And so then as I'm thinking about the sweeping right now, I have my broom. Some people will have a broom that they use specifically for this type of work. And that's perfect. If you are using the broom that you would just normally use in your home, then I would first, sort of, use a little Florida water and spritz the broom a little bit, especially the bottom bristles that are going to actually be touching, the floor and areas like that, and let it sit for a little bit, at least an hour, and then I would start to work with it. Just because if you are, use it for just everyday use, then you're sort of allowing that energy to stay stagnant, and you don't want that. my suggestion is to have a broom that you would use for spiritual work. But if that's not the case, then definitely do the Florida water. So then I have my broom, I have my myrrh incense, and I've gone around. I need my 2 brown paper bags, right? One I'm going to tear open and lay on the floor because I'm going to put the implements, my ingredients that I'm using for my sweeping onto the actual bag. The other bag I'm going to place aside because when I'm done with everything, I want to collect it into that bag. So I have a dustpan. I have my cinnamon, which is for healing and protection, right? My powdered cinnamon, and I'm sprinkling that onto the open bag that's on the floor. So I'm sprinkling my cinnamon onto the floor as much as you think it's needed. You be the judge of that one. Cayenne pepper as well, as much of that as you think is needed. You're gonna sneeze for that. You can wear a mask if you need to for that. So the cayenne pepper, and then red brick dust, right? I'm putting that there too. So the cayenne pepper is going to remove obstacles from my life. And the red brick dust is going to make sure that I'm protected from this energy just coming back in, right? Out of the blue, even if this person, it's going to protect me from this person trying to do anything, coming back into my life. I don't want to deal with this person anymore. So that's what the red brick dust is going to do. So I have all of them on top of that bag that I've torn open, and it's spread out. So I'm sort of moving it with my broom, right? I'm sort of moving it around with my broom, sort of mixing it with the broom, with the actual broom. And so then I'm anointing the broom into this mixture that I already have, the bristles, the bottom bristles, because I want them to be as colored in all of this that I have down there as possible, because I'm going to start using that. I'm going to start sweeping. And so while I have the broom and I'm swirling it around, I'm saying that I'm taking back my voice. I'm taking back my sight. I'm acknowledging what I hear is truth, that I can and will trust. My voice is right, has its right to sing, to scream, to cry, and laugh, right? I'm saying that I'm taking back my voice, my agency. I'm taking it back. And so once I'm done with that, then I'm going to start sweeping. I'm going to start going into those corners, going into all those areas. And I'm really moving around and I'm cleaning. I'm doing a thorough clean. Some people even, take that broom and they want to, get into the corners of the walls at the top, right? They want to make sure they get any cobwebs, anything. They're just sweeping around the whole house, just sweeping. And as you sweep, you're collecting dust, you're collecting whatever's there, but you're also collecting the energy, right? You're collecting it all. So you're moving that onto your dustpan after you do the entire home, right? You can do room by room and empty from the dustpan into the other bag, right? The brown paper bag that we didn't tear. So we're putting all of that into that brown paper bag and we're collecting it from room to room. So once we're done with all of the rooms, what I like to do is I like to take that and I move away. I take it from my home at least 9 blocks away, 9 is Oya's number. It is the number of change and transformation. And so when we take it away, we bring it to a receptacle or, garbage container away from our home, not at least 9 blocks. You could go more. We're not looking back. We're going to drive home or walk home by a different route, and we're not going to look back. We're done with that. We've gotten that out of the home. Right. And so that is one that I like to do because that one, it really, really, once you get back home, you're going to really feel how open and clean and new you feel. Right. Now you say, well, I have carpet. Right. So then we have one for carpet as well. So if you have carpet, then we're going to use the cornstarch or arrowroot powder. So we're going to use that, and it's going to help the cornstarch or the arrowroot. It's going to help improve our fortune. That's why we're using that. We have the 9 drops of patchouli oil to help with separation, right? To help us be separated from this person and not have anxiety over it. The 9 drops of rue will help exercise the past love from our heart. Helps to sort of get that energy out of our heart space. Frees us up so we don't start to feel sorry for them. And maybe we want to get on the phone and call them up and see how they're doing. No, it's done, right? The 9 drops of hyssop oil for purification, and then tobacco for healing. And you can buy a cigar, and just open that up. I like to do it that way with the cigar. So take the one cigar, break it up, and take the, tobacco out of it that way. You can definitely do it that way. And then we're going to have coffee grounds. We're going to use coffee grounds as well to help remove obstacles. And I don't think I went back with the tobacco. But the tobacco itself is going to help to protect us, to sweeten that area for us so that we can help to heal. I have my mason jar again. I like to buy lots of mason jars. So I have my mason jar. I have a funnel. So I'm going to start off with my dry ingredients, breaking them up, making sure that they're all broken up. And as I'm doing this, I can keep my same statement that I use for the sweeping. I can use my same statement for that. So then I'm breaking it up. So then I'm adding in my oils to the base, and I'm going to shake it up. And once I shake it up, I can start saying my statement, whatever I want to say, about how I want this person or this energy from this individual to leave my life. And then I just sprinkle it, and I'm going to vacuum as I would normally vacuum. And as I'm vacuuming, I'm thinking about my life, what my life is going to be like, since I have moved on from this situation. I'm really, really thinking about that and moving forward with that. And so those are just some things I think that people don't usually think about, how we can clean or cleanse our spirit, from a bad relationship or a bad situation, and we always think about how we can break ties with a person, maybe using candles and things, but never how that energy, stays with us, on us, as a part of us. So, yeah. Definitely, like I said earlier, if you need to talk to someone, magic is never a substitute for, our mental state, our getting our mental health in check, right? So I like to do them both and encourage people to use them both. So definitely don't be afraid of that, and don't think that you should substitute, one for the other. Use them both, Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I am going to start looking at the questions and see what people have to say. Oh, thank you, Holly. Okay, all right. I see some. Athena says she loved those tips. Thank you so much. I am looking for questions. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in too. I want to thank you for that. The garden area of Home Depot. Yep, stacks of bricks. Yes, you can definitely do. Yeah, and I use, and coming from New Orleans, that's the way we would do it, right? We would just break them up. Jason said the garden area of Home Depot has lots of bricks. True, we would just take the bricks and we would just put them in a pillowcase, and then people would break the bricks that way, do it that way. So definitely, and I know there's some sites that sell red brick dust. So yeah, that's a given. Mm-hmm. Yes, Holly, most tobacco shops, yep, has incense and charcoal discs that you can use to burn. Yes, definitely. You can do that too. Yeah, you can use the incense, the smell of the tobacco as well. You can definitely do that. Llewellyn says that there was a question earlier about when I went through the really ugly separation from my last job. It still with this. Yes. This would still work for separation from a job as well. Yes, definitely. It's not just about separation from relationships. It's situationships as well. Yeah, and I hope I said that enough. Situations as well. So you can definitely use it. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, you can definitely use it for, jobs, any type of situation that you feel like was a bad ending, right? Or you could call it a breakup, right? Some of our jobs seems like relationships were breaking up. So any type of breakup or breakaway, you can definitely use them for those as well. And especially if you were working at a job and you brought a lot of that energy home with you, like a lot of us, we bring our work home with us. So if you bring a lot of that energy home with you, then definitely, do the sweeping or the use the one for the carpet, whatever you need to use at the home as well. Oh, Pamela said, very well done. Thank you, Pamela. All right, Jen. Oh, thank you so much, Jen. Jen says I'm beautiful and she loved my presentation. All right. Emily, does the shampoo conditioner work with old relationships several years old? Yes. They work with old relationships as well. Yes, ma'am. They sure do. And what I would do, Emily, is when I'm doing it, as I'm putting together my shampoo and as well as my conditioner, I would sort of think of that image of that person. If you want to, if that feels okay, definitely do that. Or you can even write their name on a index card, or and put that underneath the shampoo or the conditioner that you're using, and then let it sit for 24 hours and then use it the next day for that as well. Yes, you can do it that way too. Oh, info on my book. Yeah. Well, no, you didn't misinform. The book is not out yet. I'm thinking tentatively it'll be out in 2023, right? Sometime in 2023. And I'm hoping that it's called Conjuring the Calabash. So we'll see. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and like I say, I am on social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My website is, I'll put it up. And so if anybody wants to contact me about any of the spiritual work that I do, I will definitely put it here. My email. And thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and have a wonderful rest of your day.